Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to talk about how to teach chemistry online effectively. Make sure you stay till the end so you hear my book recommendation for all chemistry teachers. Now I'm going to keep this video specific to just chemistry teaching. If you're interested in my tips for virtual teaching in general video, let me know in the comments down below. These are some of the things that I really think you should emphasize into virtual teaching. One of the most impactful things you can do is personify the elements. It's a lot easier for students to talk about people than it is for them to discuss these abstract elements that we are talking about. So if, as much as possible, you can infuse human characteristics into the elements, that's really going to help them. For instance, when I talk about electronegativity, I talk about how fluorine is as strong as a football player and how cesium is as weak as a baby. Then I go through the thought experiment of asking the students who's going to win in a game of tug of war, the football player or the baby. And yes, it's really silly, but it's also a really impactful statement once you create that story in their mind. And there are lots of different ways that you can personify the elements, and I'm sure some quick internet searches can give you even more great ideas. I am a big fan of having the students experience chemistry as much as possible. And because a lot of it is very abstract, especially in the beginnings of learning chemistry, using simulations to help students have those experiences is vital. I'm a really big fan of PhET simulations. You can look at the link in the description down below because they do a really good job of helping the students explore the science and kind of create this knowledge for themselves. There's some really important things that you should do if you are going to be using these PhET simulations or any simulations in your virtual teaching. Number one, I suggest, no matter how difficult or simple the simulation is, that you give the students some time to just play around. Give them 2 to 3 minutes to just get into the link and then click on buttons, see what they can do. I always challenge them to try to break the simulation. And then after those 2 or 3 minutes, come back and have that discussion about the buttons that you really want them to know about. Because chances are they messed with that button and they're like, oh yeah, I have an experience with that button. Now I know how to really use that button. Finally, what's really important is to have a debrief once the simulation has been completed. After you've given the students the whatever amount of time you're giving them to do the simulation, come back as a class and screen share your simulation. Show them the big idea one more time. Taking it back out of their control and giving them something to watch helps them experience it better. Make sure you're using the periodic table as much as possible. I suggest picking a virtual periodic table like PhET.com in the description down below. It's really important that the student gets used to using the single resource and knows where to go to find the answers that you want them to find. Great thing about PhET.com is it has lots of different options for how you want to view the periodic table rather than having to go to a whole bunch of different sites to see it in different ways. Finally, the last thing I want to discuss is dealing with engagement or lack thereof when you are lecturing. It's just the nature of the beast. In chemistry, there really are some times where you just have to lecture. Through those, the best is to tell them stories. If you don't feel confident or creative enough in order to do this, then a book that you should read to gain this skill is The Disappearing Spoon by Sam Keen. Sam Keen's Disappearing Spoon is just chapter after chapter of interesting stories. He does a really good job of weaving in history, and it's funny, it's sad. It's just a really good book. Well, thank you for sticking around to the end of the video. Please give me a like if you found value in this video, and make sure to leave me a comment down below if anything I've said sparks interest in another video. Thanks for spending time with me. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day, and I'll see you next time.